Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry for the delayed start today. Excuse me. I just had, because it's quite a long section, there's some editing that remained to be done and some preparation that I was just trying to get completed before the dars. I still don't know how I managed to get it ready, but alhamdulillah, it's ready now, inshallah. So sorry for the delay, and inshallah we will continue. So we're starting from Surah Hud. Um, verse 36 onwards, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد قال في قرآن المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأوحي إلى نوح أنه لن يؤمن من قومك إلا من قد آمن فلا تبتئس بما كانوا يفعلون واصنع الفلك بأعيننا ووحينا ولا تخاطبني في الذين ظلموا إنهم مغرقون ويصنع الفلك وكلما مر عليه ملأ من قومه سخروا منه قال إن تسخروا منا فإنا نسخر منكم كما تسخرون فسوف تعلمون من يأتيه عذاب يخزيه ويحل عليه عذاب مقيم حتى إذا جاء أمرنا وفارت النور قل نحمل فيها من كل زوجين اثنين وأهلك إلا من سبق عليه القول ومن آمن وما آمن معه إلا قليل وقال اركبوا فيها بسم الله مجريها ومرساها إن ربي لغفور رحيم وهي تجري بهم في موج كالجبال ونادى نوح ابنه وكان في مأزق لي بني اركب معنا ولا تكن مع الكافرين قال سآوي إلى جبل يأسمني من الماء قال لا عاصم اليوم من أمر الله إلا من رحم وحال بينهم الموج فكان من المغرقين وقيل يا أرض البلع ماءك ويسمع ويسمع عقلي وغيد الماء وقضي الأمر واستوت على الجودي وقيل بعد لقوم الظالمين ونادى نوح ربه فقال رب إن ابني من أهلي وإن وعدك الحق وأنت أحكم الحاكمين قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلك إنه عمل غير صالح فلا تسألني ما ليس لك به علم إني أعظك أن تكون من الجاهلين قال رب إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني أكن من الخاسرين قيل يا نوح اهبط بسلام منا وبركات عليك وعلى معك سنمتعهم ثم يمسهم من عذاب أليم تلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيها إليك ما كنت تعلمها أنت ولا قومك من قبل هذا فاصبر إن العاقبة للمتقين صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وأوحي and it was revealed. So if you remember, last week we didn't have the dars, but the week before we started the subject matter with regards to Nuh alayhi salam. And this is a continuation of that subject matter. Wa'uhiya, and it was revealed. Who was it revealed to? Ela Nuhin. It was revealed to Nuh alayhi salam. Uhiya means, doesn't just mean revealed. Uhiya can mean inspired. Uh, the rule was given, the hukum was given to Nuh alayhi salam. So this is what uhiya means. Just 1 minute. Wa uhiya la Nuhin, and it was revealed to Nuh alayhi salam. لن يؤمن, that will never believe, min qawmika, from your people, illa, except, man, those who qad have already amana, those who have already believed. Meaning the people that you have been inviting to give dawah to, been inviting for them to stop committing shirk and become the believers. From this point onwards, those people will never, no one else will become Muslim. Meaning don't waste your time with people anymore. فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ, so do not be distressed. بِمَا, for what kanu, they have been, yafalun, for what they have been doing. Meaning don't worry about them now. What's gonna, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed that what is going to happen is going to happen. So no point you worrying about those people. So what should you do? Wasna il fulka. Wasna, and construct. Al fulk, the ship. Bi'ayunina, under our eyes. Meaning under our command, you should construct this ship. Wawahyana, and our inspiration. And ayunina can also refer to and wahyana, with the help of the angels. So Jibreel alayhi Islam will come and show you what to do and how you are to construct this ark or this ship. Wala tuhatibni, and do not address me, fit deen, wala tukhatibni fil ladina, do not address me concerning those who zalamu, those people who are wrong. Meaning the ones that have done wrong, no point you addressing me with regards to them, because now nothing, whatever has come to pass has come to pass, and nothing can be done for those people who are not the believers. Innahum, indeed they are mughraqun, they are the ones who are to be drowned. Meaning they were not believers now. When this verse was revealed, they were not believers. So no point you making a dua for those people, because they will not be saved. Now, and he was constructing. So look in verse 37, Wasna'il Fulka is mentioned and construct, and now, and he was constructing. Quite one verse comes after the other verse, meaning straight after this command comes to construct the ark, Nuh alayhi salam begins to construct the ark. And he was constructing Al Fulk, the ship, the ark. وَكُلَّمَا, and every time Marra passed, alayhi, by him, Mala'um min qawmihi, the chiefs, the rulers, the high off people, the well off people, the people whom people look up to, the chiefs, the rulers, whenever they would see Nuh, or whenever they would pass Nuh alayhi salam, Sahiru min, they used to ridicule him. They used to make fun uh, of Nuh alayhi salam. Qala, he said, in taskharu, if you ridicule, minna, us, fa'inna, then we naskharu, we can ridicule, minkum, you, kamata sakharun, as you ridicule. Meaning you're making fun of us, that this guy was a few days ago, a few moments ago, a short time ago, he was calling us to the worship of one God, and now all of a sudden he's become a carpenter, right? Because you told them that the punishment was going to come. So this is one form of joking, together with a few others that we will discuss inshallah. Hatta, till, إذا, when, جاء, came, أمرنا, our command, وفارت التنور, and overflowed the tanur, the oven. And tanur can mean the oven that you cook your bread in, or you can mean the earth as well, which we will inshallah discuss. Qulna, we said, Ahmil, load, fiha, in it, meaning load in the ship, in the ark, min kulle, of every kind, zawjaini, a pair, zawjaini isnaini, a pair of every kind, meaning a pair of every animal. Was it a pair of every single species, or just the species, or the animals that were around, or the ones that he needed for the world to continue to flourish, or what type of animals were they? Inshallah, we will discuss this. Wa ahlaka, and your family. So the members of your family, and ahl doesn't necessarily mean your blood relatives. It can mean, ahl can mean the brothers and sisters in faith as well. Wa ahlaka, and your family, illa, except man sabaka, who was preceded alayhi against alayhi al against the qawl, against the word waman amana, and whoever believed, meaning only the believers can come with you on this boat. Wama amana, and not believed ma'ahu, with him, illa kalil, only a few people believed with him. How many were those people? What does kalil refer to? Inshallah, we will discuss this. Waqal arkabu, and he said, arkabu, embark, fiha, in it. How should you embark? Bismillahi, in the name of Allah, with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Majreha, as it is its course, wa mursaha, and its anchorage. So when you start, you say Bismillah, you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, um, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide Majreha, you will guide the ark, you will guide the ship. Wa mursaha, and when it comes to stopping, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show you where to stop, or it will stop automatically. And some of the scholars have said Bismillah refers to when you want to go, say Bismillah, and and when you want it to stop, say Bismillah, and it will automatically stop. Inna, indeed, Rabbi, my Lord, Inna Rabbi la Ghafur Rahim, indeed my Lord is Ghafurun, certainly of forgiving, Rahim, the most merciful. Wahiya, and it, Tajri, and it sailed, this ship it sailed, Behim, with them, Fi Maujin, in the waves, Kaljibal, in the waves like mountains. Right? Who could have imagined waves like mountains? But if you remember when the tsunami came in Japan, and there was real life footage of how big the waves were, who could have told the Prophet ﷺ that there are waves as big as the mountains, meaning gigantic mountains? Wahiya Tajri, and it sailed, Behim, with them, Fi Maujin, on the waves, Kaljibal, like mountains. Gigantic waves came upon the the people, but they were safe in the ship. Wanada Nuhun, and Nuh alayhi salam called out Ibnahu, he called out to his son. So this is in the initial stages, just before um, the whole area has been flooded. Nuh alayhi salam, Nuhu nibnahu, Nuh alayhi salam, he calls out to his son. Wakana, and he was, fi ma'zilin, he was in a part. Ya bunayyar kam ma'ana. So he called his son who was further away from him, one son which was further away from him. He said to him, come with us, come and get onto this ship. وَلَا تَكُمْ مَعَ الْكَافِرِينَ, and do not be with the disbelievers. Meaning that if you don't come onto the ship, then you will be of those people who are the disbelievers, because the disbelievers will get drowned here. Qala Sa'awi. Qala, he said, the son said, Sa'awi, I will betake myself, ila jabalin, to a mountain, ya'sumuni, that will save me, min al-ma, that will save me from the water. Meaning, okay, fine, it's gonna rain, right? How much is it gonna rain? The rain isn't gonna reach the mountains. It takes ages to get for the water to get up the mountains. So by that time, I'll be on top of the mountains and I'll be safe. Qala, he said. So Nuh alayhi salam said, La asimul yawm, that there is no protector today. Today there is no protector. Or whilst this flood water is coming, if you say yawm means time period, during this time period there will be no protection for you. Meaning that anyone who is not on the ship, there will be no protection for those people. Min amrillah, from the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Illa marrahim, except on whom He has mercy. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes for someone to be saved, then that is between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wahala, and came. So whilst this conversation was taking place, Wahala, and came, Bainahuma, between them, Al Mawj, the waves. The waves came between both of them. Fakana, so he was, Min al Mughraqeen, amongst those people who drowned. Meaning his son became drowned. Why did Nuh alayhi salam call out to his son? Was his son actually a disbeliever at that time? We will discuss this inshallah. Wakila, and it was said, Ya Ardu, O earth, Ya Ardu, this word Ya Ard is also quite interesting. And when you use the word Ya Ayyu, that refers to getting someone's attention. And Ya'ard refers to someone waiting for a command. So, for example, um, you address someone, so you say, Ya ayyo nas, O people, this is what you should do, right? Or you say to someone, wait for my command. So this guy's or this sister is on the phone waiting for this command to come for this person that when I tell you to do this, then this is what you should do. And so, so, so uh, sorry, Ya ayyo refers to trying to get someone's attention, right? So they're not looking at you, they're not waiting for anything from you. You say something to get that person's attention. And Ya ardo here refers to something that is already waiting for your command. So the example of the phone call that I gave, this person's already waiting for your command. So this earth is not like the humans and the jinns. It is waiting for the command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Waqila, and it was said to this earth which was already, because the earth has nothing to do other than wait for the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this earth is waiting for the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Waqila, and it was said, Ya ardo, O earth, abla'i, swallow, meaning take down, swallow in one go. Ma'aki, swallow the water and swallow it in one go. Wayasma'u, and O sky, akli, withhold. Akli, to stop. Stop all of a sudden. Doesn't mean slowly to stop. Straight away stop. Don't do anything. So the earth is going to suck up all the water in one go, and um, the skies are going to stop bringing down any water. وَغِيدَ الْمَاءُ, and subsided al-ma, the water. وَقُضِيَ, and was fulfilled al-amr, the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاسْتَوَتْ, and the ship, and it rested al-Judi, on the mountain of Judi. وَقِيلَ, and it was said, بُعْدًا لِقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ, and it was said, بُعْدًا, away. Um, Boughdan means it's done, right? Meaning the ones that have been destroyed, we don't care about them. It's finished. It's done and over with. Those people have been done and over with. Lil qawmi, with the people, az-zalimin, the wrongdoers. Wanada, so now the water has subsided, and Nuh alayhi salam, he comes out. Wanada, and Nuh alayhi salam called, or Nuh alayhi salam felt some ease. Wanada, and Nuh alayhi salam called Nuh Rabbahu, he called out to his Lord. Faqala, and said, Rabbi, O my Lord. Look at Faqala, and he said, O my Lord, Rabbi, my Lord. Innibni, indeed my son, min ahli, is of my family. Wa inna, and indeed, wa'daka al-haqqo, your promise is true. Wa anta, and you, ahkamul hakimin, you are the most just of judges. So this is Nuh alayhi salam saying that, look, Ya Allah, I saw my son, he drowned right in front of me, right? Is there anything that we can do for him, right? And this we will discuss inshallah. Qala, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies. Qala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Ya Nuhu, O Nuh, innahu, indeed he, laysa, is not, min ahlik, he's not of your family. Ahlik meaning that he's not of the believers. Innahu amalun, indeed his deeds, ghayru salih, his deeds are other than righteous. The deeds that he was doing are other than righteous. There's many questions that come to our mind with regards to these verses, right? And we will inshallah discuss them. فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِ, so do not ask me, ma, about what, laysa, is not, laka bihi ilm, don't ask me about that which you don't have any knowledge of. Inni, indeed, aizuka, admonish you, antakuna, lest you be min al jahilin, of those people who don't know. Meaning, you don't know about your son, so don't continue to make du'as for him, because you don't know what I know. And we will discuss this inshallah. Aizuka doesn't mean I admonish you. Right? Aizuka means I advise you. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that don't say things that it is not good for you to say. قال ربي 47. قال Rabbi, he said, Nuh alayhi salam said, Rabbi, O my Lord, inni indeed I, a'udhu bika, I seek refuge in you. Oh Allah, how can it be that I can say something that I shouldn't say? Meaning that I don't have knowledge of something with regards to my son, and if I had that knowledge, I wouldn't ask you. And asaluka, that asaluka, I should ask you, ma laysa, not what li I have bihi ilm of knowledge, wa illa, and unless taghfir, you forgive. And remember, the word forgive doesn't mean I have committed a sin, so you should forgive me. Taghfir means look over, and we will discuss this as well. Wa illa, and unless taghfir, you look over, li, me, wa tarhimni, and you have mercy on me, akum min al khasirin, I will be of those people who are the losers. Qila, it was said, Ya Nuhu, O Nuh, ikhbit, go down, bisalamin, with peace, minna, from us, wa barakatin, and blessings, alayka, on you, wa ala, and on Umamin, the nations, Mimma'ak, from those with you. Why are nations mentioned here? We will discuss this. Wa Umamun, but to the other nations, Sanomatteum, we will grant enjoyment. Thumma, then, Yamassohum, then we'll touch them. Minna, from us, Adabun Alim, Adabun, a punishment, Alim, a painful punishment. Tilka, what's the purpose of mentioning this incident of Nuh alayhi salam? Tilka, this. Min is from Amba il Ghayb, the news of the unseen. Nuhiha, which we reveal, Alayk, to you. Ma kunta, not you were, ta'lamuha. Now this is referring to the Prophet ﷺ, that, O Prophet of Allah, you were not ta'lamuha, you were not knowing it. Anta, you, wala, and not qawmaka, your people. Your people weren't present, and you weren't present when these incidents happened with Nuh alayhi salam. Min qabli hadha, before this, fasbir, so be patient. Innal aqibatu, indeed, the end, lil muttaqin, is for the God-fearing. And it was revealed to Nuh alayhi salam that none of your people will believe except those who have already believed. So do not be distressed by what they have been doing, and construct the ship under our observation and our inspiration, and do not address me concerning those who have wronged. Indeed, they are to be drowned. And he was constructing the ship, and every time the chiefs of his people passed by him, they ridiculed him. He said, If you ridicule us, then we will ridicule you just as you ridicule. And soon you will know on whom a punishment will come that will disgrace him, and whom will descend a lasting punishment. Till when our command came, and the oven, i.e., the earth's lowlands overflowed, we said, Load on it, on the ship of every kind, a pair of your family, except load on the ship every kind, a pair of animals of every pair, load them onto your ship, and your family, except those whom the word has preceded, and include whoever has believed, but only a few believed with him, meaning only the believers are allowed to come onto the ship. And he, Nuh alayhi salam, said, Embark in it in the name of Allah, is its course and its anchorage. Indeed, my Lord is all forgiving, most merciful. And it sailed with them on the waves like mountains. And Nuh alayhi salam called out to his son, who was apart from them, O my son, embark with us, and do not be with the disbelievers. He, the son, said, I will betake myself to some mountain that will save me from the water. He, Nuh alayhi salam, said, There is no protector today from Allah's command except on whom He has mercy. And the waves came between them, so he was amongst the drowned. And it was said, O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold, and the water subsided. And the command was fulfilled, and it, i.e., the ship, rested on Mount Judi, and it was said, Away with the wrongdoing people. And Nuh alayhi salam, he called to his son, to his Lord and said, O my Lord, indeed my son is of my family, and indeed your promise is true, and you are the most just of judges. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O Nuh, indeed he is not of your family, indeed his deed is not righteous, so do not ask me about what you have no knowledge. Indeed, I um, I advise you, lest you be amongst the ignorant. He, Nuh alayhi salam, said, O my Lord, indeed I seek refuge in you from asking that of which I have no knowledge, and unless you look over my faults um, and have mercy on me, I will be amongst the losers. It was said, O Nuh, go down, disembark with peace from us and blessings on you and on the nations from those with you. But to other nations we will grant enjoyment. Then will touch them from us a painful punishment. This is of the news of the unseen which we reveal to you. Not you nor your people were knowing it before this, so be patient indeed. The end is for those who are God fearing. We'll inshallah continue. We may not complete today's dars by 2:30, so we'll stop, and then if it comes to that, then we'll just continue next week inshallah. But I'll make sure that I try not to go past 2:30 inshallah. وَأُوهِيَ إِلَى نُوحٍ. So here the incident of Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned to point out that the ibadah should only be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ibadah should only be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now commanding Nuh alayhi salam, or is telling Nuh alayhi salam, that out of all your people from now onwards, no one else will become Muslim. And how long did he preach for? We will discuss this inshallah. So if you turn to first of all Surah Nuh, Surah 71, verse 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he mentions, وَقَالَ نُوحُ رَبِّي لَا تَذَرْ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ دَيَّارًا إِنَّكَ إِن تَذَرْهُمْ يُضِلُّ عِبَادَكَ وَلَا يَلِدُ إِلَّا فَاجِرًا كَفَّارًا. And Nuh alayhi salam said, My Lord, do not leave any disbelievers on the earth, for indeed if you leave them, they will mislead your slaves, and they will not beget except a wicked disbeliever. Why did Nuh alayhi salam make this dua? So these verses here are in response to Surah Nuh verses 26 to 27, in which Nuh alayhi salam made this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a hadith it is mentioned that an old man he was dying, and Nuh alayhi salam he went to the old man and he told the old man that, look, you are dying, you're coming close to your death, perhaps you should, think about the hereafter, because if you die in this state, who's going to help you in the hereafter? You're going to go to the hellfire, you're going to stay there forever. So this old man, he thought, okay, what you're saying, or this is how Nuh alayhi salam perceived what he was saying, that yeah, you're talking sense. So this old man said to him, that said to Nuh alayhi salam, that okay, wait here, and he called for his sons and daughters to come. And when his sons and daughters came, Nuh alayhi salam is getting happy that this person will accept Islam, his sons and daughters will become Muslim as well, and thus they'll all be saved. So when his sons and daughters had come, he said to them that, look, I'm gonna die anyway, so don't worry about me, whatever happens to me. But when I die, my wasiyah, my uh, will to you is that you do not listen to this man. No matter what happens, you are not to listen to this man. So when Nuh alayhi salam he heard this and he realized that these people will never become Muslim, then he made this dua that we find in verse number 26, that, oh Allah, I've preached to these people for such a long time, none of these people will become Muslims. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, fine, don't worry about them. Yeah, why are you worried about these people? Right? Um, we will deal with these people. And what did these people do? remember at the beginning we mentioned that these people they worshipped idols. The, that the nation that Nuh alayhi salam was sent to worshipped idols. What was the nature of these idols we didn't discuss. So in the same surah, if you still got it open, if you turn to verse number 23, Surah Nuh, verse number 23, in which is mentioned, وَقَالُوا لَا تَذَرُنَّ آلِهَتَكُمْ وَلَا, and they said, لَا تَذَرُنَّ, do not leave, آلِهَتَكُمْ, your gods. So this is what the people of Nuh alayhi salam are saying to themselves. Don't leave your gods, وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ, and do not leave Waddan, do not leave Wad. This is the name of one of their gods. وَلَا سُوَاءً, and do not leave Suwa. So you got Wad, you got Suwa. Wala Yaghuth, and do not leave Yaghuth. Wa Ya'uq, and Ya'uq and Nasr. So these were the five gods that the people worshipped, the five idols that the people worshipped. Do these idols that these people worshipped have any significance in history at all? So when you read what the Mufassirin have said about these, what they mention is that in the time before Nuh alayhi salam, there were five people, and those people were Wad, Suwa, Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr. These are five people. They were five pious people. Five pious people that these people used to go to them and ask them for advice. And there was a plague, and in that plague, these five people they passed away. When these five people passed away, that was a big shock to the community. So later on, some period passed, and the devil came and seeing these people in this state, he said to them that look, why don't I make some idols in their forms, and whenever you sit in your gatherings, it'll be as though those people that have passed away, they're already present here. So the people they thought that was a good idea. So he made these idols uh, in the forms of these people. And whenever they would sit, they would remember that these people are present amongst them. Generations passed, the ones that were present when these idols were made, they all passed away. As happens as time goes by, then again the devil he came to these people and he said to the people that you know what your ancestors used to do? Um, they used to call upon these people. So what was known as the God of love. So if you wanted someone to love you, they would call upon Wad. If you wanted to get something done, to get a job done, then you would call on Suwa. This is what Iblis told these people. And if you want some form of help, then you call upon Yaghuth. And if there's a difficulty that you want removed, then you call upon Ya'uq. And if there's a help that you need, a specific help for something, then you call upon Nasr. These were the five gods that the people worshipped. Each god had a specific duty that you could call upon. And this is what the people did. They started to call upon these gods, thinking that these are the ones that can specifically remove their difficulties. And this is how shirk started in the world. And this specific type of shirk is called shirk fil ibadu salihin. These people who passed away, they were true believers, right? But the people and the devil instigated these people to worship the idols that were the images of these people. So you had these people worshipping these five idols. Like even in today's time, we find people worshipping pious people, but in essence committing shirk with those. Like some of the Shias, they believe that the Prophet ﷺ, Hazrat Fatima, Hazrat Ali, Hassan, and Hussein, they are what we call, or what they call, Panchtan Pak, the five purified people. They call upon them when they are in need. Right? We have uh, in the Indian subcontinent, our Sheikh used to tell us that where his teacher was from was an area called Panchpir. And in reality, those Panchpir means someone in religious terms, somebody that guides you. But in today's time, people, a peer is somebody that when you are in difficulty, you go to. So in his time, in the time of Shah Ismail Shahid, Rahimahullah, there were these five Hindu priests that the people used to go to for help. And in fact, these Hindu priests were actually spies for the British government. But the people used to go to these people for help. And Shah Ismail Shahid, when he found this out, who was the Mujahid of the Indian subcontinent, he killed those people. And what happened is, those people, the ones that were killed, the people buried them on top of the mountain in five graves. And years passed, and later on, people started to worship those graves, not even knowing that these people were actually Hindus. They weren't even Muslim. Just like people forgot that the idols were in the forms of pious people, in the same way people forgot that the ones that were buried in the graves were actually Hindus. They weren't even Muslim. Whether they are Hindus or Muslims, you are not allowed to call the dead from their graves anyway. So that's what happened in the time. And then later on, when Sheikh Muhammad Tahir, Rahimahullah, when he came, he destroyed those graves and stopped people going up the mountain to worship those graves. So this is mentioned. So this is the history of how shirk starts in the form of in, in and amongst people. If you turn to Surah Anbiya, Surah number 21, verse number 76, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions, وَنُوحًا إِذْ نَادَى مِنْ قَبْلُ فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ فَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ مِنَ الْكَرْبِ الْعَظِيمِ. And Nuh, when he called before, so we responded to him and we saved him and his family from the great affliction. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He saved Nuh alayhi salam and his family's Ahl, right, from the affliction that came upon these people. Ahl doesn't mean just your blood family. Ahl means your brothers and sisters in faith. So someone cannot be related to you whatsoever, but he can be called the Ahl, he can be called your family. In the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commands or Nuh alayhi salam that now because these people are not going to believe, what are you to do? And it's mentioned how the ship was to be constructed. Wasna al fulka, and construct the ship. Bi'ayunina, under our eyes, wa wahyina, and our inspiration. Meaning that the angels, they guided Nuh alayhi salam to construct this ark or this ship to save the people and the animals that were present in that area. Different commentators have given different sizes of the ship and how big it was. Some say that it was 80 cubits long and 50 cubits wide. A cubit is about 460 centimeters, um, 46 centimeters or 18 inches. Uh, this is one cubit, right? So this was the size of the ship, meaning a massive ship. This was, and so it's 80 cubits long and 50 cubits wide, and it had three levels on it, and in between each of the levels, uh, Nuh alayhi salam, he placed different categories of animals, and they used the human stayed on one level, and the ship was 30 cubits high, and each level was 10 cubits high. So it was constructed with the guidance of the angels and in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from this we also can learn that through this method that Nuh alayhi salam used to construct the ship, we see ships in today's times also constructed in that form as well. So many things come from the direct, either you can say either directly from the revelation or the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspires industries to come into fruition from the examples of the prophets as well. So Nuh alayhi salam, he begins to construct this ship. Now when he was constructing the ship, now where was this constructed? Which area was this? This is the area of what we call Mesopotamia. This is the area of Iraq. And not the bottom area of Iraq, but towards the top area of Iraq, towards Kurdistan, if you like. And there's no real, I think there's some um, minor rivers, but no large areas of sea, and it's not an area that's covered by rivers as well. So when Nuh alayhi salam was making the ship, right, and there was no sign that there was rain anywhere either, and there's no sign that you can easily get this ship or this ark onto the river or onto a canal. How you're making it in such a place that there's no water here. It's not about to rain, so all of a sudden it's going to start to flow. You're not going to be able to get it to the sea. So what are you actually doing? So the people the Mala, the rulers, when they saw this, they started to make fun of Nuh alayhi salam. That before you were a carpenter, sorry, before you were a prophet, telling us to stop committing shirk, etc., and now you become a carpenter. So they would joke at Nuh alayhi salam. So in response to that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a reply to them which is befitting of the comments that they were making. قَالَ إِن تَسْخَرُوا مِنَّا فَإِنَّا نَسْخَرُ مِنْكُمْ كَمَا تَسْخَرُونَ. If you ridicule us, then we will ridicule you just as you ridicule. Meaning you're making fun of us today. Then look at verse number 39. فَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ مَنْ يَأْتِيهِ عَذَابٌ يُخْزِيهِ. And soon you will know on whom a punishment will come that will disgrace him, and whom will descend a lasting punishment. You're making fun of us today, but tomorrow you will see when the rain comes down that who is going to be laughing. We are the ones that are going to be looking down upon you. When you all are drowning and no help is coming to you, then we will see who will be in the better position. Quite often when I was looking at these verses, when I was thinking about it, and inshallah we're going to discuss how many people were the followers of Nuh alayhi salam in the next verse, in verse number 40. But only a few people, illa Khalil is mentioned, only a few people became the followers of Nuh alayhi salam. And Nuh alayhi salam has been preaching to these people for thousands of years. So not thousands of years, hundreds of years. And I was thinking to myself that can to be in a large group of people, and I say that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. And if you look at our own selves, for example, out of hundreds and thousands of people, we are 6 people on the Dars call today. I know a few sisters and brothers couldn't make it today, but on average we have 10 to 12 people attending the Dars. So this is a minority of people. A minority of people that are trying to learn the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trying to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's so easy for those people that don't do this, or those people that are not on the deen, to remain in their ways. Why? Because everybody else is doing the same thing. It's so easy for them. So can we all imagine the people of Nuh alayhi salam? That here you have a prophet calling to something which they can't understand. Can't make sense of it, because the previous people have all been doing the same thing, and they are and they are not going against the crowd, meaning they're not using their own intellect, right? They rather go with what the people say rather than to make the correct decision. Can we all try to just even imagine what it would be like in that position? We see this all the time, that wherever majority of people are, everybody goes towards that way. To tell those people, brother, sister, you know what you're doing is wrong, you shouldn't do this, is very difficult. So from this we can also see the challenge that Nuh alayhi salam faced in front of these people. That he's calling all of these people, and he has been calling these people for all of his life, you can say, in essence. Yet the people are not listening to him. And those people who are on the other side are thinking to themselves, these guys are crazy. There's only a few of them, and there's all us on this side, and everyone is saying the total opposite. How can these people be right? And the reason that they're not accepting Nuh alayhi salam is because they are happy with the status quo. They're happy with the way things are, so they are ultimately leading themselves to the hellfire. Then in verse 40, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions the details of the punishment. حتى إذا جاء أمرنا وفارت النور, till when came to them our command. Tanur can mean, this is the first command that came. Tanur, in Punjabi, I think definitely, I don't know if you use the same word in Urdu or not. You have this in back in the Indian subcontinent, and even here people have them as well. It's like a clay pot, a gigantic clay pot. In the olden days, the chimneys that you have on the clay pots that you had on the chimneys, they were quite big. And if they were removed, if they were taken down, and if you buried that in the ground and you heated it up, right, you could put your rotis, you could put your chapatis or your naans on them, and they used to cook on those things. And in places around the world, and here even today, nowadays they've got gas ones that they make the rotis, the naans on, right? So this is what a tannoor is. This is one meaning of what a tannoor is: a clay pot in which you cook things in. And the other meaning of this is tannoor, the earth itself, meaning the whole of the earth is like this clay pot, right? Or tannoor refers to, uh, so if you look at it in terms of it being a clay pot, to get that clay pot to do anything, you have to heat it up. So you have to throw wood into it for it to heat up. So a sign to Nuh alayhi salam was that that rather than heat coming out of those clay pots, you will see water coming out of those clay pots, meaning the earth will give forth its water, or you will see water coming out from the ground. So what happens is when it rains down, the earth becomes saturated. It can't handle the water, and we see this all the time. We get a bit of rain, and you see the drainage cannot cope, right? So it throws the water back up. This is what tanur is, the earth itself. So hatta idha jaa amruna farat tanur, till when our command comes and the oven, i.e. the earth's lowlands overflowed. So that the when you see that the earth is overflowing with water, right? And at this moment in time, we can presume that the ark is ready and the ship is ready to sail, right? So when you see the water coming out of your clay pots, or when you see water coming out from the ground, meaning you didn't expect water coming from those places, when you see that, then you should gather the animals, right? And a pair of every animal. And you should gather the believers. So if you look at Nuh alayhi salam's life, he lived on this earth for how long? So in the Quran it's mentioned that he conveyed the message to the people for 950 years at least. So from the age of 40, which is roughly when you get revelation, so up until this time, 40 plus 950 is 990 years, right? So from the age of 40 for 950 years, he conveyed this message to the people: call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't call upon anybody else. And then the flood happened. And then after the flood finished, then Nuh alayhi salam lived for a further 60 years, then he passed away. And during this time, how many people became Muslims. If you look at the verse itself, uh, in the last bit of verse number 40, وَمَا آمَنَ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ, and believed, and not amana believed with him, illa qalil, except a few. So after 950 years of preaching to the people, only 6 people became Muslim. 3 sons and 3 daughters-in-law. So the wives of his sons, they became Muslim, and his 3 sons that he had. All of them, only them, they became Muslim. One of his wives, some say he had 2 wives, one became a Muslim, the other one didn't. Definitely one wife, uh, definitely his wife didn't become a Muslim, and one of his sons wasn't a Muslim as well. The sons of Nuh alayhi salam were Sam, Ham, and Yafid. These were the ones that became Muslim. And so Sam, Ham, and Yafid, they are the ones that were Muslim. And Yam, who is known as Canaan or Canaan, he was the son of Nuh and who didn't become a Muslim. And we will discuss this, inshallah, perhaps next week with regards to his son and with regards to the dua that Nuh alayhi salam makes for his son as well. Some of the scholars have mentioned that there were 80 people. 80 people that boarded the ship with Nuh alayhi salam. This figure is not mentioned anywhere. And if you look at the word Khalil, only a few people. When you look at 80 people, you wouldn't say there are less people, right? That's a quite good number of people that have become Muslim. Obviously, you got to look at it in comparison to how many people were there at that time. But um, 80 in itself is not a number that would be classified as qalil, as a few. So the best opinion is that there were 7 people, 3 sons, 3 daughter-in-laws, and Nuh alayhi salam who became Muslim. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions that you take a pair of each animal on board with you. So which animals were taken? So if you look at the area that they were living in, or that part of Iraq, the northern area most likely, so it's referring to the pair of animals that were present at that time, not a pair of animals that you find all over the world. And where did this flood occur? Was it all over the world, or was it just uh, around one area? Inshallah, we will discuss this next time. But certainly, only those animals were taken that were present at that time. So you had, for example, a cow. So you had a male cow and a female. A goat, male, female. A donkey, male, female. A bird, male, female. So those animals that were present at that time. And you can also say that those animals that were of a similar species, because sometimes you get one like a cat. What type of cat we're looking at? A lion is a cat, a tiger is a cat, a puma is a cat, a lynx is a cat, a tiger is a cat. So it doesn't necessarily mean one of each species. It can mean one animal of one group as well. And in that way, you can say that he was able to get all of these animals, a pair of each animal, onto his ship. Or you can say even the predators were separated out because you would need them in future as well if the whole of that area was um, was destroyed. So a pair of the animals that you would eat or that you would use, the predators, some of them, together with the birds as well, because the trees were also flooded as well. So the birds were brought on board as well, a pair of each of the birds. But the animals that you see in the sea, they were not on board because they can survive in the sea as it is. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow the humans and jinns to act upon what we have heard. Unfortunately, we don't have uh, reached this time now. We'll get to this point, and then inshallah for next week we'll continue with verse 41 to the end, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow the humans and jinns to act upon what we have heard. Sorry for starting slightly later. I was just trying to get the notes done and the slides ready. Alhamdulillah, I got them done, but we started a bit late. But we'll stop there and we'll continue from here next week, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow the humans and jinns to act upon what we have heard. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to learn the lessons from the lives of the prophets. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu alayk. If you have any questions, you can message me, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan.